Call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners, April 1st at 5:15. Do a roll call.
Commissioner Ernst? Here. Commissioner Rollins? Commissioner Vogelsang? Commissioner Wright?
Here. Any changes to the agenda? Yeah, so we were thinking of doing public comment after each agenda item tonight. Is everybody okay with that? Yeah, okay. So we'll do that. Okay, so maybe we'll skip the general public request. No. Okay. So we will skip the general public request and do approval of the minutes of the previous board meeting held on March 18th.
Move to approve.
Go ahead.
Commissioner Ernst? Commissioner Engel? Commissioner Rollins?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogelsang? Commissioner Wright?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, moving on to regular business, Boco Paddle update.
Welcome, Butters, with Butters Construction Development. And with me is my wife, Catherine, and hopefully Brian Levine, our partner, hopefully will join us shortly. But we're here to give a brief update on where we are. So first, we are working through the concession agreement with Jacob and Sam. So hopefully that will be, hopefully have that finished here by the end of the month. Here's Brian. Brian, you can come up. And so that's working along great. There's not too many open issues. On the city front, we've submitted already our site plan approval package to the city of Boca Raton. And we went through our first round of comments. And there weren't that many substantial comments, but there's always comments with the city of Boca Raton, as you know. So we are resubmitting probably at the end of this week. And our goal is to stay on track and to hopefully get on the July or August City of Boca Raton planning and zoning agenda for our site plan approval. And the thought is that hopefully we are on the same agenda as the North Park planning and zoning approval for y'all submittal for the park. So I don't know if anyone, I don't see Miller Leg here tonight, but we're going to try to coordinate so we're both on the same agenda because the city's looking at it as one big project for obvious reasons. And if we could get on the same agenda, so you're approved and our project's approved at the same time, that would be ideal. And then we came here tonight, specifically, the last time we were here, the board had some questions about our pricing, accessibility, membership structure, revenue. So I'm here with Brian. And we figured we'd address them tonight. And I know, Brian, I printed it out. You want to talk about, well, we could do it through the, this is the same as the PowerPoint. So it's either one. Might be easier for you to talk. This is the slide. I think this will be the same. So it's easier, might be easier to look at this versus the. Okay, so Brian Levine, my partner, will talk about the second slide, which is, come play with us and addressing some of the questions as to, how we're thinking of structuring the facility from accessibility and membership.
Yeah, there isn't much more. I mean, this is very similar to, I think Stu and I had presented a few weeks ago as well, as far as some of these. One of the interesting things that I think we've added, people have talked about from an accessibility standpoint, could everyone have access to it? And one of the things that we're adding is that all Boca residents will have 3 passes a year to attend, and anyone from anywhere will have at least 1 a year to attend. As people know, we also had the community hours, which we've talked about before. That hasn't changed. And we're putting a little more bones now on things like, there's beginner clinics. Everyone's going to have access to beginner clinics, regardless of being members or not. We're going to have youth programming, so summer camps, children's age 7 to 14, for daily pickleball instruction. That's going to be open to all members of the public as well. special events, people want to plan birthday parties, corporate team building. We can do that as well. And, all players are welcome as guests of a member up to 6 times a year as well. This is the resident pass that I had just mentioned. So all City of Boca residents are invited as walk-up players 3 times a year. They could book court rentals, advanced instructional clinics, open play based on availability, don't have to be accompanied by a club member. Residents just have to show identification showing that they're Boca residents to have 3 times a year. And as I said, we were debating this too, that, it's also not far from the Delray border, and, what if you're from Delray? And so we're going to allow 1 visit a year as well, even if you're not from Boca. And here are just the basic membership benefits. This really hasn't changed. We're going to be open from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. 14 days advance booking for members. These are court hours, indoor courts, outdoor courts. The rates change indoor versus outdoor, and obviously versus community hours will be cheaper. Initiation fee, family initiation fee. We've added family. I think we mentioned this the last time as well. It's $149 a month for a primary member. It's $119 for a spouse partner, and it's $75 a month for dependents. And this is the community, so a little more detail on the community memberships. There's no initiation fee, $49 a month, cancelable anytime. Community members have full facility access during the week from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Court reservations, clinics, private lessons, open play, access to the summer camps and the other children's programming that we'll have, cheaper hours as well for court fees. And you can see the comparison between full membership and community membership down below. We wanted to just make some comparisons to other pricing, where we are versus some others. I think people are familiar with Diadem. Diadem is in Coconut Creek. It's a converted auditorium. I wouldn't exactly call it a club, but it is an indoor facility. These are the hourly rates we have versus them. Then there's the pickleball club at Lakewood Ranch, which is somewhat similar to what we're doing. I would say the pickleball club at Lakewood Ranch isn't, I don't think it'll be as quality of a facility as we're going to have. And I think Lakewood Ranch isn't really Boca, but it's a fairly similar one. And there aren't a hell of a lot of models right now that are comparable. And you can see that the prices there are fairly similar. And this compares it more specifically to Lakewood Ranch. So at a high level, if you look at the 2 data points, on average, I would say, factoring in cart cost per hour, we're probably 10 to 20% higher. But as I said, we're, we mentioned we're anticipating putting in at least $16 million into this club. It's going to be a higher quality club than pickleball club. And demographically, Boca is definitely higher. Average household income of Boca Raton is 40% higher than Sarasota, and Lakewood Ranch is about 10 miles outside Sarasota. One other data point is, City Pickle, who's our operator. They've got outdoor courts in Central Park, and their peak court pricing is $120 an hour, which is twice what our rate is. And for our last slide here is some rough financial projections. I mentioned our budget. It's a little over 16 million right now. We hope to keep it there. Our estimate based on our proposed pricing, year 1 revenues of about 5 to 7 million. Year 1 expenses about 4 to 5, comes out to net income of about 1 to 2 million. And that would result in a year 1 concession payment to the City of Boca of between $150,000 and $210,000. Any questions?
First, thank you for coming down tonight and presenting this to us. I might have more questions as we go, but my first question is, could you give me a breakdown of your revenue streams, how much you expect to get from each profit center or each revenue center?
Sure. I mean, right now it's, it's still a little far out to figure out, there's initiation fees, there's membership. We've got some F&B, there's going to be some pro shop, there's clinics, we'll get a percentage from what the pros teach as well. But it's, I would say, off the top of my head, I would say the membership and court time probably make up probably 2/3 of it combined. So it's mostly, it's not, the F&B, most of these clubs, the F&B is not particularly high, and the pro shops don't sell that much. I know for City Pickle, their revenues are less than 10%, selling gear and things like that. But it's a nice service for your members to be able to, buy paddles and, apparel and things like balls and things like that there at the venue.
Thank you. So we're looking at worst case scenario of about 3 million and change first year from pickleball, and about 1.7 million from food and beverage and other assorted streams. Am
I
I
would
correct?
say it's 1.7 million food and beverage, but it's, I mean, most of the revenues are from pickleball. It's just a
Mhm.
matter of whether it's initiation fee versus membership monthly and court fees. That's obviously the bulk of it.
Mhm.
I would say F&B is probably 10 to 15%, and I'd say, pro shop stuff is probably just under 10%.
And just one other follow-up question. What do you anticipate roughly the number of new members going forward? I think you mentioned 2,000 as your max.
We think that's probably the max.
Okay. How much of that do you anticipate in first year, and how much going forward?
It's a great question, and we've gone back and forth as far as what that's going to be. A lot of it depends on, promotion and, I think we've modeled the first year to have a little under 1,000, something between 500 and 1,000, and that's just based on other clubs, particularly pickleball club. But the nice thing too is, like, I think we can be flexible. And as far as rates go, like, none of these things are set in stone. These models, pickleball's exploded. It's changed a lot in the last few years. These types of clubs, there aren't that many out there. And every region is different. There are some areas that really need the courts. There are some where, there may be a lot more courts that are built. Right now, I think this region, as you all know, we really need some additional courts right now, given how popular it is in this area. But it changes. So, the most important thing for us is timing, right? Like, we were approved over 6 months ago, and, we don't have shovels in the ground yet. So, we want to get that done as quickly as possible. But, to answer your question, I mean, I think I'd be happy if we had, after 1 year, if we had 1,000 members, but we'll see.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else have anything right now? Susie?
When you have the amount of $60 per hour, is that per court or is that per player?
That is perfect.
Okay, that answered a question. So a family of 4, their first year outlay would be around, with their membership dues, their initiation, and it would be around 7,100 for a family of 4.
When you say 7,100, it would be 2,500 for the initiation, and it would be it's 300.
The family
Depends on-
initiation, 2,500, right?
Yeah, it's 2,500 for the initiation. I'm just doing the math of
Right.
it. It's 149 plus 119 plus 150 if you have 2 kids.
It's 388 for the,
And that's in line, by the way, that with other pickleball club has a similar one. Other ones do as well.
okay. So the other pickleball clubs, though, that you mentioned, particularly Sarasota, who owns the land in Sarasota?
The pickleball club does.
Okay, so it's not donated. Well, it's like a P3.
Yeah, no, I think Susan, the pickleball club in Sarasota, they own their own site, but they don't give, they're not on a profit sharing agreement with the city of Sarasota either. So yeah, like, on our arrangement, we're technically getting the land, but we're also paying for the land too. But they own their land out. They're a private organization, so they own it outright. The same company just bought land, I think, out in Wellington, or what's the not Wellington, but Green Acres. Green Acres. It's up in Northwest. So they're gonna build their own facility there too.
Did I hear you right? You said you're paying for the land.
No, I'm saying like, we have they own their own
Right.
land. We don't own the land. We're on a concession agreement.
Right.
And then we pay the concession agreement, part of the concession agreement to the district.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
I do know that their costs were less than 16 million.
So I had a request from some part of the public. They said if you could provide an itemized revenue projection of P&L. Is that possible?
I think as time goes, we certainly can. Not at
Okay.
that stage just yet.
And I think that's okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a comment. So the membership fees are still, I mean, they didn't change, they're really high. So that's my kind of problem with this whole thing and like accepting it is the percentage of the population that's going to use it, probably a little bit higher in Boca, but it still eliminates a lot of the public and the fact that it's on public land. I guess that's what I have a hard time with. So is there any way you guys can come back, like say with the concession agreement, there's that revenue that you're going to be paying us, correct? Like yearly. What would happen if we said, okay, you don't have to pay us yearly? What would you be able to do in terms of the residents becoming members and having a much less lower fee for that, basically?
I think we talked about that, right, Brian? I think we had some in lieu of, or for every dollar that the payments on the concession agreement, we could figure a way to translate into something. And Aaron, what we try to do here is, we were sensitive, I think, to the different membership levels, and we wanted to make sure, to your point, everyone has opportunities. So there's actually 2 levels of membership. We had the full membership benefit level, and then we had what we call the community membership level, which was a little bit less. So
Yes, I
okay.
saw, well, I do see that,
Okay.
but like, so for the people that work Monday through Friday from 9 to 5, that's not doable. So for the people who work 9 to 5, community membership is not an option, right? And then they're only allowed to come 3 times a year. So I guess that's where my issue comes in, is that for a majority of the people that live in Boca Raton and they can't afford the membership fees, a lot of them work full time and they can't do the community membership. So there would be no point in them doing that because they have to work. So that's my issue, is that for people who work full time, there is no option.
Yeah. I think, and we've been debating that. I mean, the club itself, we're open to talking about having a city sponsored membership level. But that's something that's gonna take a little work, I think. It's not something we could figure out quite tonight.
But I think like if you want to carve out something in the concession agreement where we could do a dollar for dollar swap of the concession that goes directly to Boca residents as sort of a rebate for memberships. I mean, we could do that.
Yeah.
But again, would they be restricted in terms of the hours and the days and things like that? Because, if they're restricted and again, they're working full time, let's say they work for, I don't know, Parks and Recreation Department.
Right.
So, like they can't, being restricted as a city resident to a place that's on public land. I
Yeah,
guess that's my issue. And of course, there's going to be city residents who are able to pay with the membership fees, right?
Right.
And that's going to be the majority of, and you're looking at the higher end of Boca, right? And I get that, But my issue is that it's on public land, right? And I can't get beyond that with this project, I guess, where the the majority of our residents will not be going here because of the fact of the prices, but they'll be able to do the trails, but they won't be able to play pickleball.
And
So I guess that's my,
yeah, maybe we'll have to figure out something, Aaron, because we hear your point, and I think it's a valid point. We struggle with making sure that this facility is sustainable and viable too, right? Because if you're going to invest $16 million,
right.
and right now, if the numbers work out, you're probably making like a 10% return on your investment, which is kind of a fair return. So, if we open it up and it becomes just a free for all, we don't think that's going to be sustainable. We needed a more predictable model, right?
Mhm.
Similar to the Lakewood Ranch one, or even, a lot of the ski hill operators now, they don't just sell ski tickets by the day, they send yearly things because they need this predictability of cash flow.
Mhm.
So I think we could go back to that and see what we could do for, maybe some of the courts, are open for this, the city of Boca residents or whatever. So that if you're on a community membership, certain number are put aside, that they're not only, 10 to 4. I'm just kicking around. No, I hear you.
I mean, I'm just whatever pops into my head when I look
Yeah.
at this, I have to voice to you because, a lot of the people who are watching this or pickleball players are, you know, thinking the same things I am. So that's why I'm bringing it up. And I mean, I get it. We're, Boca Raton and we need a high-end pickleball facility. I just wish it wasn't on public land. But that's the way it's kind of working out. But, and we didn't see this fee structure when the original, when we were picking the proposals. So I don't know if that had an impact for people or not. But again, I'm just voicing my concerns as a commissioner and a resident. So
And again, I think, Aaron, too, like the other people, when you bring up, the RFP, a lot of the other people like Chicken and Pickle and Camp Pickle, they're more food and beverage based models. So it's like a Top Golf. So they're to Commissioner Engel's point, their revenue is probably like, I'll make it 75% food and beverage, 25% pickleball. The city specifically wanted a recreational facility. And I think the zoning allows recreation. It's not like a Top Golf or, something that's more entertainment. So I think we could go back and revisit some of that. And we hear your point, but it's a balancing act, right? And that's
Yeah.
why I think someone mentioned before, that's why the less expensive option is always city parks, right? Because it's outdoor, it's free, or it's a cheaper cost. But similar to the racket club here and the pool here, there's a membership structure and there's a fee and all that. So we're trying to do it. Here's outside, and the whole city, I think, subsidizes it to some extent, and we don't have that luxury. We're sink or swim. So we have to make sure, because we want it to be open and continue for, 50, 100 years, but we'd hate to have it, just collapse. It's tricky. We're involved. I'm involved. Catherine's involved with the ice rink, and it's taken a good year to get off the ground. The first year was, maybe break even at best, and that's just a private enterprise. But none of these things are guaranteed. And like Brian said, a lot of the clubs are popping up or announced, and if we get into situations where there's going to be other clubs and more competitions, I think that's a risk we're willing to take. But and we're going to have to be flexible too. Like, even though we project certain membership models, if the market doesn't allow it, we're going to have to be flexible.
Okay.
But I think we come back, and I think we have to address your comment, and I think it's a good one.
Thank you.
Perhaps this is one of the reasons that you were my choice. This is your project aspirations. The goal of Boca Paddle is to create a racket facility that will be an open, affordable venue that will provide a means of connecting all members of the community through racket sports. So I remember when my kids were Aaron's kids' age, I couldn't afford $7,100 a year to play pickleball. And I have a feeling that there are a lot of families out there that um, could not do that. And having something affordable, I get it. You're putting a lot of your own money into this, but we're giving you the land. So I agree with Aaron that we need to go in a little bit different direction.
Mr. Butters, thank you for your input and being flexible. As someone who's been in business, I know what it takes to get a business started. I know the process, and I've been here quite some time. And when we're looking at opportunities here to develop this pickleball, I realized that there's going to be a different model than what we're accustomed to seeing in terms of membership fees and cost associated with it, because you're putting in a $16 million project. And I appreciate that, but that's something if we had to do ourselves, it'd probably be 10 years from now before we could do that. So you're helping us advance the pickleball facilities in this community, and in an air conditioning setting, I might add. Now, for those of us, for those that may not be able to afford it, is that we're going to build 18 covered pickleball courts. It's not going to be as luxurious as yours or have the amenities that we might have over there with a club. But I do appreciate the fact also that you have a community membership. And I think that one area there, as Aaron did point out, is having some earlier times for the community members might be something if you're flexible enough to consider that. And then who knows, as your project gets underway, you may be making some adjustments along the way with your fees and membership. If your full membership doesn't go as like you planned, you may have to make an adjustment there, and in order to attract more members, drop that fee. I'm just projecting, but I appreciate the fact that you're willing to be flexible in some of these, take a look at it. And I can already, you've demonstrated that to me at least. It is on public land, and of course that is obviously it was paid for by taxpayers, but I think you're making opportunities available. And that's what I think we're saying to you is that let's try to have some opportunities available for the community to do earlier things at the facility, whether it's, indoor, outdoor. I think, the opportunity of deferring that to concession fee is another area where we might be able to help with the operational cost of this that would allow other members of the community to play in this facility. On the other hand, we've been playing outdoors for so long, and Craig's been a proponent of covered facilities. So now we'll have a covered pickleball court. We'll have an indoor pickleball facility. And with your help, I know that we'll make it something that the entire community can take advantage of at some point and somewhere along the way. So thank you for your flexibility and sharing with us your thoughts and process. And it may be just a work in process, and I anticipate that it is, and things will change as you make adjustments and as you do in your own
I
business.
think it's hard. Like I could appreciate the comment that we're not necessarily paying for the land, we don't own it, but we're going to have to pay. And the facility itself, it's a big difference operating outdoor pickleball courts than an indoor facility. So the cost differential is substantial. Like even, right, if you play, Brian, you play at Patch Reef and other places, there's still a cost to it.
Yeah. So, it's all relative. Yeah, we could think about what else to do in terms of like the overall model. We put into this facility, for $16 million. That's a lot. So, I think, we could think about what else to do in terms of like the overall model. We put into this facility, for $16 million. It is, that's a lot. So, I think, we could think about what else to do in terms of like the overall model. We put into this facility, for $16 million. It is, that's a lot. So, I think, we could think about what else to do in terms of like the overall model. We put into this facility, for $16 million. It is, that's a lot. So, I think, we could think about what else to do in terms of like the overall model. We put into this facility, for $16 million. It is, that's a lot. So, I think, we could think about what else to do in terms of like the overall model. We put into this facility, for $16 million. It is, that's a lot. So, I think, we could think about what else to do in terms of like the overall model. We put into this facility, for $16 million. It is, that's a lot. So, I think, we could think about what else to do in terms of like the overall model. We put into this facility, for $16 million. It is, that's a lot. So, I think, we could think about what else to do in terms of like the overall We'll come back with it.
Yeah.
For the commissioners, is it okay if Brianne and the Butters group discuss the revenue sharing option? Yes.
My opinion, yes. You know, I never considered in the concession agreement that we were going to get any concession, even though the term concession implied that. I'm happy to, as one commissioner, to say whatever it takes to make this work for the community. I'm willing to do that.
Craig said yes, you should, yes, okay. One other thing that just came up, I don't know if it's a possibility either, but I know it's a membership based project, but would it be an option to do a drop-in as a resident if the cost per hour was a little bit higher? Like if you're not a member, but you did want to come play and you could get a court, but the rate to rent it was a little bit higher, like say, I don't know, $80, you're still splitting it by 4, but you're getting $20 per hour to play or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Just
Like-
so that, if you're not a member and you wanted to play one day, you could potentially
sure.
really still go play.
Again, we're learning as you're learning, we're going along, throwing things out, a lot of times when you don't have this forum, owners of clubs like this, they adjust on the fly, right? Here, we're trying to work it all in advance. We haven't even opened it yet. So, but we're trying to be flexible and we will be flexible, but it's a good point, Aaron. I think that could be an option. And then working with the district on, on some sort of, we'll call it a subsidy, whatever you want to call it, but to figure that part out.
Yeah, I think your structure is, that's probably what we come back.
We're talking about expanded hours. I know in New York, some of the golf courses had what they called sunrise hours. So say 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. or on a Sunday night instead of closing at 9. And I don't recall your closing hour, but having an extra hour after that and make that available to the community, because the chair brought up a good point. Unless you're retired or independently wealthy, 10 to 4 is just not available for you.
Right.
So, things where you can expand the hours and make those hours available to the general public, I think would go very far in creating more demand for you and more accessibility for the public.
I think the sensitivity is to Boca residents, right, Aaron, to more than, because, I'll give you an example. Like, I live here and I love golfing out at Osprey, which is a Palm Beach County course, but it's open to everyone. Like, good luck getting in the wintertime. And I was born in Quebec, but most of the people there in the daytime are in Quebec, so I can't really golf there. But I think that if I would suggest anything in terms of whatever we come up with, I think it would be to the residents of Boca Raton, because it is a city district and the residents, I'm assuming, paid taxes for that, and maybe city employees and first responders of the city, something like that would be our first priority, I think.
For sure.
I think,
And Steve, 7 to 9 is like prime pickleball time, so I don't think that's gonna work. But maybe like
sunrise hours should be-
I'm up at like 4:30, so maybe like 5 to 7 or something like that. Don't try to play at 7. It's super busy. Craig, go ahead.
Good luck. I think you're on the right track. You'll come up with a good solution. It'll all work out. My question to you, though, is you mentioned in your discussion there, Mr. Butters, is about the site plan has to be approved for north and south. Is that what I heard?
Now, my suggestion, well, I think the city, so the city's reviewing our plan,
Yep.
like our little section. But the district has already previously submitted their master plan for the park, for North Park,
Right, for the east side.
for the east side of,
Yeah.
yes, north and south side of Jeffrey Road. So what we're trying to do And I think the city's right, is to look, they're gonna look at this as one program, right?
Right.
The paddleball, pickleball facility in the North Park. So, I think it's good that we're here because we're pushing, Miller Lake to stay on
Yeah,
course with us. And, so, I'm hoping that we both get on to a summer agenda and we both get approved on the same agenda because, it'd be great if you guys get approved ahead of time. But I think now that they know we're coming behind you, I think they want to look at it together because we have shared access and they are thinking, okay, like I'll give an example. It's a little boring, but traffic said, okay, once Jeffries is open, we want a second access point for the Boca paddle facility onto Jeffries. So we showed them how that would work. And, obviously we're not going to build the
Sure.
extension of Jeffries, but they want things like that kind of thought out in advance.
okay. So, I mean, my question is probably more for my peers and to Brianne is, I've been an advocate for the hotel site to be something other than just green space land. It's a prime location that has all the infrastructure there. And it looks like we may or may not have a joint city meeting, but nothing's changed about the need of a field house. We need a field house. And so is that a location? Yeah, I mean, this is the time to talk about it because, and then it's a question back to you, Malcolm, if it's possible to build, is it better to build two buildings at once or is it?
Yeah, I don't think we want
Yeah.
to confuse our facility and run.
I understand. They're
But I
mutually
do
exclusive.
acknowledge, I think there's a need for a field house. As a matter of fact, one of the city commission meetings I was at, I think some of the students or from St. Andrews or somebody spoke in public comments, and the city council was very supportive of getting involved with that. So I think they're going to have to look at it. You're going to have to find an operator for it. I think it's another process.
Yep.
And then they will go through, a separate site plan approval for that project because it's going to be, what size, how much traffic, what hours. The city's going to ask all the same questions.
Okay.
But it won't slow you down. You have that separate parcel, Greg. It's right on the corner there.
Right. I just want to make sure that separate parcel is defined. We're doing it now. I don't want to do it in 10 years from now. I want to get it going now, whatever it is, and define it. So right now it's been excluded from everything. So
As long as it doesn't slow us down.
understand you guys are a separate
Yeah,
track.
but-
I'll get that. I'm okay with it.
Just quickly, Greg Stevens and I have met and we've acknowledged the need for a field house, and I think the city is acknowledging that. So we're going to have a conversation in the near future about that. So I think that there's potential for something to work with the city to get a field house somewhere in North Park. So we'll continue that conversation and come back at another meeting about it. It's definitely, do you want to, you're looking at the
You know,
hotel
what's
site?
going where the hotel site was, and that's
Okay.
one option.
Okay, got it.
Did they say they wanted to pay for it too? Right? The city council, they
No,
wanted to
I
put
don't
like 10
think, I'm
million?
not going to go on the record saying they wanted to pay. They said they were supportive of it though, and they acknowledged the need for it. But you're going to have to ask them, Aaron, about that.
Greg is always the front runner for asking about volunteers. Would it help your O&M to have volunteers working there at, in some capacity to lessen your costs?
You mean as workers there, like who would volunteer, you think, Susan?
Well, somebody at the front desk to check people in, making sure that, people aren't sneaking onto the courts or whatever. Just to have a cadre of volunteers that it could help with O&M over the long run. Because you mentioned Osprey. Osprey has a lot of volunteers out there.
I think I read that they're suing the county now because they're not getting paid for work that the workers are getting paid for.
Well, they get $5, I think, an hour or something, and then they get almost free golf. So
Yeah, I mean, we have to look at it. It's a slippery slope, I know like internships, with colleges is technically, I think you have to pay the interns now too. So I don't know. I think there's labor laws that we'd have to look into.
my experience with volunteers in Boca is that they'd rather write a check. than to be- And so, we used to have a concession at Petrie Park that was run, and then we ended up letting a pizza place run the place, and even that didn't work. So volunteers, I think we have great volunteers in some of the youth sports programs, and that's because the people are working with their own children. I've
Right.
found it's been more difficult otherwise and with this Osprey situation, I wouldn't want to put that onus on you and have to deal with those kind of volunteers taking issue with their volunteer work.
Right.
But I just so appreciate the flexibility that you've demonstrated before and to this point, and I think we're getting closer. You understand our concern, and I believe that there's areas that can be addressed as we've already mentioned. So
We'll get right back to you with something. I think Aaron's idea is probably a pretty good one. We'll just flesh that out and we'll get that back to you pretty
Yeah.
quickly.
Our goal is, because we're working with, again, Jacob and Sam on the concession agreement. So our goal is we'll try to work through this the next 2 weeks and maybe come back to you in 2 weeks. Because we're gonna hopefully get the concession agreement buttoned down. These things would be exhibits to the concession agreement. And, our goal is again to get everything kind of locked down before the summer and get this thing built and into the city for permitting in fall and start construction in January of next year.
Let's have anything? Yes, I'm gonna open it up to public comment, but that'd be awesome to see some construction happening on that property. Ugly.
There's actually a national pickleball tournament taking place this weekend in Delray.
Ah.
I'm looking forward to when we can say we're doing one in Boca.
All right, so we're gonna do public comment. Anybody? Yes, and this, keep in mind, this is public comment, but it is not a back and forth with the Butters group from the public. It is public comment. And we have what, 3 minutes?
Might want to hit me.
Hello, Siliberti, 6200 Northwest Second Avenue, Boca Raton, Florida. I want the Boca Paddle to not take any of my comments personally, but I do want them to take it because the commissioners, they are all very politically correct, which is great. I don't have to be. Not that it's. Last comments that I made on, I think it was March 19th, 18th and 19th, I came up with facts and figures with notes. Today, no notes. I could tell you right now, I don't think there's a commissioner up there that wouldn't have voted dead last for Boca Paddle if they knew the initiation fees and the monthly fees. Well, maybe second to last because I was at that meeting. But initiation fees and monthly fees, WTF. What's that for? All right, it's a $16 million building. You get to depreciate that for 39 years to zero. You're getting 6 acres of land, 6 acres. There is not a comparison in the whole state that you could compare another facility. And city pickle management, well, maybe you can review a cheaper management company or get a local management company to run the facility. It's a building with pickleball. It's not, and you're going to have a restaurant. You're going to have an exclusive restaurant on over 200 acres of land and a pickleball facility. So what I'm saying is, I don't think there is a comparison. Chicken and Pickle, they don't have initiation fees. They don't have monthlies. They have a court fee. There is profit. And you're not talking about like dipped chicken wings. One of the partners here has a couple of real good restaurants. You're talking about a restaurant, not just food and beverage. And you're asking, unfortunately, someone you can't ask to pinpoint the questions of gross, what that would be for rent out of the gross, the real numbers. But to come back with every commissioner you know, and I know everyone's on a good mood and coming across very nice and kind, but everybody was in shock. I mean, dead shock when you came out with those fees. And I got to tell you, I live there and we have a couple great pickleball players in Boca Paddle Club. Maybe they represent the 2%. I think I represent the 98% of pickleball players. I'm hoping for your success. I want your success. If those fees aren't affordable, I don't know. And I'm the first one that wrote everyone telling them, maybe give up the concession. It should be zero. They're not looking to make money, but we are looking to very much enjoy the place at affordable rates. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else have anything?
Hello, for the record, my name is Robert Duquette, 5351 Northwest Third Terrace, Boca Raton. Your public-private partnership has become overly complicated, as indicated by this meeting's comments tonight, with disenfranchising much of the public with the higher cost. The Beach and Park District is already paying about $10 million for pickleball, so another $6 million is not unreasonable for the district to consider to build their own facility and control the cost and to allow for public access. This is the first 3P program by the district in 50-year history of the district. I would respectfully request that the district get the approval of the legal oversight of the district, such as the Inspector General for Palm Beach County and or the Florida Attorney General, so there's no legal problems or no unnecessary legal cost later in the process. The district and the district commissioners are aware that the Florida Attorney General has already indicated that the district is not allowed under their charter to sell, lease, or otherwise convey district property. I don't think you need to be an attorney to realize that the proposed concession agreement is in fact conveyance, all but under a different name. Again, I mentioned this to you before, but I think that it's important that we don't run into legal problems later on. If the legal authorities under your charter allow this, I think that is fine. I have no problems with Boca Paddle personally, but I think that the cost issue is certainly an issue, and you can control that. If you had to pay 16 million versus the 10 million they're already paying, you do like you already do in some of your facilities, and it costs more to play tennis here than it does at Pat's Reef. So you can just have a higher membership fee. I think it's maybe it used to be $600 or $700 here and $200 or $300 at Pat's Reef for playing tennis. So again, you could have that type of a control of the pricing. But again, I think that many of you have a very good position with the cost, disenfranchising much of the city, and the number of new pickleball courts that are being built. As I know Craig has mentioned in the past, we're going to be pickleball on every corner. It's going to be the Starbucks of pickleball, I think. But thank you for your consideration.
Anybody else? Mr. Turple.
Turple 19155 Fairlawn Way, Boca Raton. I wasn't going to talk, but so much came up. There's a lot to say. So quickly, I'm sure everybody realizes they're saying this, but everybody says City of Boca Raton residents. I think what everybody means is residents of Boca Raton Beach, Greater Boca Raton Beach Tax District. So it's not just the city, it's but quickly also, I'm a member at Diadem. I'm a member of 2 indoor facilities in Tulsa, and I play at all ours here. I think if these guys are experienced operators, what they'll also find out if they don't know, there are times of day that are not peak hours. And at many of the clubs I play at, it is either Saturday night or Sunday night. And unfortunately, that may not work into the family's thing perfectly, but if they also run an ice rink, I remember in the days when my kids played hockey, we played hockey at 11 o'clock at night because that was the cheapest time to get so I think there are times that outside of the 10 to 4 that they might have community times available. It's not perfect taking your 8-year-old kid at 8 o'clock at night on Sunday night, but you still would have the opportunity, and they would have the opportunity to do their peak pricing. I hear what they're saying, but as a member of Diadem, I think there are going to be some opportunities for them to have some other times where they have non-membership members, which clubs have done. Now, my other friends that are here, the city of Boca Raton, I will say also that is part of Greater Boca Raton Pickleball. Right now, there are some they're not as good as what these guys are building, but there are courts at Sugar Sand. They're only used in the morning from like 8 to 2. And here, I'm also lobbying them for futsal indoors. So I got a conflict of interest here. But if the city could find some times, there's 3 courts on each side of those courts there for pickleball during the evenings or on the weekends. The fees are very reasonable, as you all know. So, and I know they've got, I could name 50, they got people sword fighting in there. They got gymnastics. They got dancing with fancy things. They've got volleyball. They got basketball. But there are, if even 1 or 2 days a week after they put the futsal people in there, if they could find a time, are they the professional courts? No, but are they good courts that families can use for pickleball? So I'm sure if everybody works on it, it could happen. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? No? Okay. Yes? Okay.
My name is Harold Chaffee, president of Keep Golf from Boca. This is a tremendous opportunity for the, is this on? It's a tremendous opportunity because you figure they're getting the land for free. They're not paying taxes on it. You add up all those figures, it's a hell of a lot of money. It's an opportunity of a lifetime when they have to give a little back. I mean, this is just about making a profit on what, or a commission on what they're going to make, which is going to be pittance, maybe $100,000, $200,000 a year. Their taxes will probably be $100,000, $200,000 a year, and that's free, plus the land. You're looking at a hell of a lot of money that they're saving. They have to give something back. The people can't afford something like this. And, Aaron Wright is right. As far as the hours go, the family can't come. There's no opportunity for these people. The only thing, if you're retired and you don't have a job. And if you don't have a job, you can't afford it anyway. All right, I just wanted to let's say a few things. Thank you.
Note on that, they are paying taxes.
Who is?
The Butters Group will be paying taxes on the
No,
facility.
I thought it was a municipal property.
Yeah.
To carve that parcel out and put taxes on it once it becomes a P3. So they do have to pay taxes
All
on it.
right, thank you. I didn't know that. Thank you.
One consideration for the Butters Group, and it occurred to me after some of the conversation, and you don't have to take it, but one of the pieces is just community involvement. And I would say, let us not forget that years ago, there was a hotel there. There are 13 condo associations there, and they need a community service room. So consider a separate access door to have one of your rooms in the front there. I looked at the design. I think they would appreciate it. Maybe if you did have some element of community service in the off-peak period, and then you could offer food and beverage, whatever. It's up to you.
And we have party rooms, and maybe that's another thing. I just want, and we appreciate everyone's comments, but This is not a guaranteed venture. So it's easy for everybody to say this is the opportunity of a lifetime and we'd more than happy to welcome their investments with us. But this is not a guarantee. You know, we're projecting obviously we're to make a profit because we don't want to stand here and do it for free, but there's risk involved. So hopefully things go well. And we're going to come back with some good suggestions to make it a little bit more affordable, and we'll hope to get there. But again, I think, you know, thankfully, I think, you know, we do have, you know, members here, and usually the same members come and give us good advice. But I think, you know, I think the majority of the city of Boca is happy with the selection, and we're here to make everybody happy.
Thank you, and thank you for listening to our comments. And yeah, whatever options you can come back with that we can take a look at, if there's more than one option or, you know, a couple or whatever, that's great.
So we'll try to come back in 2 weeks, Brianne. Okay, that'll be our goal.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, moving on to number 2, the Patrick Pickleball Operator presentation by the city.
Chair Wright, Commissioners, Brianne, District Staff and Council, good evening. Greg Stevens, Recreation Services Director for the City of Boca. Tonight I'm here with Superintendent Ryan Reckley and with our Racket Sports Administrator, Stephen Brown. Ryan oversees park rangers, racket sports, ocean rescue and aquatics, and Stephen reports to Ryan overseeing all of our racket sports. We're here to provide information, answer any questions on the proposed operation maintenance for the tennis and pickleball center at Patrick Park. The city and district have had a long-standing successful relationship in building, operating, and maintaining parks and park amenities. I believe there's an economy of scale with the city operating facilities for the district due to the way the department is structured. In support of the district, we have personnel, equipment, funding available to respond to our patrons' needs and the needs of the district, like few can. As we present tonight, please keep in mind that we've worked to remain flexible at Patch Reef, adjusting our operations there to the needs of the public as we change our programming, hours, whatever else we need to do. We work to remain flexible. So as we present tonight, again, a lot of these are projections. We anticipate remaining flexible to work with the needs of the public as we move forward into the future. Secondly, the fees we propose tonight are mainly contained within the user fee schedule that we submit to the district every year during the budget process. So obviously we're proposing fees tonight. Those fees will be in the user fee schedule. Most of them are already there now that have already been approved. And but we are always available to work with the district to look at any kind of a cost recovery goal or model that the district's interested for the facility. So I will be handing off to Ryan here momentarily, but I wanted to thank you. As always, the department always appreciates the support we get from the district. So.
Ryan Reckley, Recreation Services Superintendent. Thank you for the opportunity to make our presentation. Hope you like what we have to demonstrate for you. So first off, in our introduction, I know we're talking a lot about the 18 courts that we're bringing on board, but just a reminder, we currently have 12 courts that we just converted, and we also have 3 junior courts that we have, which will give us a total of 33 courts in operation for Patrick Park. The second bullet that we have is the dedicated and providing excellent service. I just want to highlight that we are currently operating pickleball and tennis out of Patrick Park. We do have the personnel. We are familiar with the infrastructure, and we are familiar with the maintenance needs as we're currently performing those tasks and duties. As Greg mentioned earlier, our fees remain the same. That's what we made our projections off of. And one thing that you do see, our resident and non-resident court fees is $6 and $12, $12 being non-resident, and that's for 90 minutes of court time. And even with our cost recovery, we're projecting, we're being very conservative, but we are projecting an increase in our cost recovery. We also are working with Human Resources for a volunteer program to see if we can assist even further with our operations at Patch Reef and other facilities as well. What you see here is a demonstration of the 18 courts up at, in the middle here, the new 18 courts, and at the bottom is a printout of kind of our current situation with the 12 pickleball courts and the 3 junior courts that are by the wall. One thing, how we have it set up with the 14 courts for reservations, 8 courts for open play, 9 courts for programming. That'll be the open air courts, and the 2 challenger courts in the middle. One thing that we're definitely going to do is be driven by the data. So we're going to remain flexible, ensuring that we are making changes as necessary as the data come in about the operations. So I know we have specific courts highlighted for, different types of usage, but we will remain flexible as long as the data comes in and we need to make adjustments. We plan on continuing open play and actually expanding open play, as we currently have some limited hours, limited days. So we are planning on expanding open play with the additional courts. It should continue to be very productive, and we are planning on keeping the same levels. That's one of the things that we do want to present, is the level of competition, allowing people the opportunities to grow in pickleball, advance and accelerate their skills. So the open play is a way to do so with the different designations in the courts. Professional staff, we are looking to looking for contracted services, so we can actually have individuals that specialize for different elements that we need. So there's a better concentration and rollout of all of our programs, and to keep things very balanced between our adults and our youth. A lot of times you have a pro would come in and they may concentrate on adults, because that's more financially sound for them. So we are looking for someone for both sides, youth and adult, to keep that balance, to ensure that we are growing pickleball for not only the adults but also the youth programs. So our instructional play, we are looking for private lessons, to continue private lessons, the group lessons, the clinics, and also provide more specialty clinics as we expand. We're looking for this to be a full-fledged operations. So the additional course allow us to have that flexibility and expanding on what we currently do. We're looking to increase our adult camps. That's the boot camps, tournament training, the different women's level, the different men's levels, senior levels, and our corporate team building. Now, one thing I'm excited about with the corporate team building is eventually using that element to actually create not just adult leagues, but corporate leagues. So you have the corporate adult leagues to add to our league components that I'll speak on a little bit later. Again, we do want to focus on our junior camps and promote all of our junior activities. We see that it's growing, but it's not as up to the same level as a lot of our adult programming when it comes to pickleball or any of our racket sports. So we would definitely concentrate with our junior camps and our junior program to elevate that. Adult leagues that I spoke of earlier, I think the adult leagues could be, the stirring juice behind all of our programming. Again, we're looking for different levels of play. We're looking to elevate play. Even if people start out at the entry level, we're looking for people to have the opportunities to advance throughout with clinics and different trainings and group lessons to elevate their play and elevate the level of all of our leagues as well. We want to make sure that we're a overall program that serves everyone and that everyone can stay in our programs and grow. From a competitive standpoint, we wouldn't want anyone to go outside for a competition if they can have that same level of play within our programming. And again, a component that's not on here, but I spoke on earlier, is to actually have the corporate leagues as well. Pickleball is a very social activity, and I think that'll be a real game winner with a lot of the corporations around. Again, junior leagues, We know there are some out there, but we want to make sure that we're doing our due diligence to make sure that we're a premier youth league as well, have youth leagues as well. That's why we want to do everything we can possible to grow all of our youth participation so that the youth have opportunities to play in leagues, to have their clinics. Again, we want to keep individuals from a very young age, bring them into our system and keep them throughout their adulthood. Modified pickleball. This program will be in place to actually promote a lot of our special needs community. That's a community that isn't well served, not just in Boca Raton, but you're thinking countrywide. So we do want to bring forth opportunities for individuals of all abilities to come in and participate in our programs. So our modified pickleball program, we're looking to bring up off the ground, not only with pickleball, but also with tennis and our other racket sports. But we definitely want to concentrate in pickleball because we know that there are individuals out there that are routine players, and we're looking to attract them and others to our programs. All right, our ladders and round robins. This is a very popular program currently at Patriot, where we max out every time we put this program or this activity out. So we'll continue this, and we'll have the same success even with the additional 18 course. Again, it allows flexibility to expand on what we're doing. It's very popular, and this is definitely something that we wouldn't want to take away or keep the same. We actually want to expand on what we're currently doing. Challenger courts. So in the middle, if you see circle, there are 2 challenger courts. One of those will be our high level courts. It gives individuals kind of that motivation to make it to the center court. You know, you want to have the pro court, the center court, and they're increasing their skill levels, but we're also going to have it available for our modified play as well. To give, you know, just that added motivation for individuals to come out and to get better, to improve. We think it's a good component, but again, the data that we do generate, we'll always use that to be flexible. Now, tournaments, currently we do hold a newly annual tournament, but we're looking to have 2, what'd you say, outside tournaments per year, large tournaments. But we also want to do in-house 4 seasonal tournaments. Maybe it's quarterly that we do in-house for our members and our residents, you know, just from a staff standpoint. But we do want to have the ability to offer or continue to offer outside organizations to come in and do tournaments, which we right now will highlight with the 2 and have our 4 quarterly tournaments. Again, the data will follow whatever data comes in and is generated. We'll follow that and maintain our flexibility. Special events, again, I can't stress how much of a social event and activity pickleball is. That's where the fun is. So we'd be remiss to not have a lot of our special events and holiday themes and different programs to just have fun opportunities for our pickleball members and residents. So we're definitely looking forward to having special events for them. You know, even if it's the glow in the dark pickleball or Valentine's outing, you know, just something different, something fun for our members to have. Pickleball parties, social activity, social gatherings. We think it's a great opportunity there to have pickleball parties. Maybe that'll be a part of the corporate model, the corporate operations to come in and have parties for their business outings. So we think that'll be a good idea based on pickleball being very fun, very social, and that's an opportunity we wouldn't want to miss. And we think we get a lot of positive output from having these pickleball parties. Pro shop, I mean, we currently operate a pro shop. Again, we'll ensure that we do have the necessary equipment and merchandise necessary for our residents and our members that come to our pro shop. We will try our best to to have all the items necessary, have new items that come on the market. We'll have demonstrations, demonstration days with new products. So we want to ensure that we're highlighting the most up-to-date materials for pickleball play as possible. And the main thing that we want to have is some form of balance. Initially from our start, we looked at our courts and we wanted to separate things based on balance. But I do want to stress that we will follow the data. We will be flexible. We will follow the data as it comes in. And any changes that we need to make, we feel it's important to make based on that data. We will do so accordingly. And that's the end of the presentation. Questions?
Two, not really a question, but two comments. Okay, one, first of all, phenomenal job. I'm glad I wore the right outfit today to support what you're doing. You're it. And so I hope to be able to make a motion later to appoint them as the operator and move forward. But I just want to emphasize that corporate pickleball, there isn't enough data on it probably yet, but I would really, really encourage the city to, and I'll help, go around to companies and do it, but there is a need for just people to come back into the office, and some are and some aren't. And pickleball is the one universal thing out of COVID that seemed to work. So I think by having a strong corporate pickleball program, you will involve families, you'll tap another market that is just bringing people together. And so if anyone can do it, the city can do it. And this is the headquarters for a lot of Palm Beach County businesses. So I just think it's really important to try to tap that market, and it helps the employers, it helps the businesses. This is a big, big pro. The question is we're spending a lot of money on the whole thing. And I have a lot of confidence that the city will do a great job with it. So that's my comments.
Wow. That's all I can say. Wow. I am so impressed. One of the things that we need to do for this entire program is we need to brand it. I know it's city, I know it's district, but maybe go to the schools and see if the kids can, some of the art students can come up with a really nifty logo. And also go to the schools to, make them aware that there is going to be a really phenomenal junior program so that they can let the kids know, that the parents know through the whatever, the PTA or however they communicate now. You know that, Aaron. Yeah. So, but I'm impressed.
I want to say one more thing that, this presentation, even though I'm up here speaking, it was my staff, Stephen Brown, who actually put together this presentation for you guys tonight.
Well, whoever did it, you did a fantastic job. You guys have your stuff together. As my drill sergeant used to say to me, well, he never said it to me, but outstanding, really. Just a couple of thoughts. You might want to get some of the local business organizations involved, like Rotary, Boca Chamber, and see if they'd be interested in cross-marketing and doing events with you. In addition to what Susie brought up, making schools aware of the junior programs. The more people know, the better. But I'm really impressed with what you guys put together. Great job.
So is that all you got? I have to tell you, I was blown away with the presentation, as everyone said. And looking at the financial data, I was even more impressed with the opportunity we have with pickleball, the numbers, the revenue. I think it's a huge job that you've laid out in front of you to put this together. The staffing, I think is critical to making this work. And But I know that, Stephen, is that, yeah. I've heard nothing but good things about Stephen's racket management, so I'm expecting this to be a very successful program. And I'm sitting here looking at Raul because 8 years ago, when we started talking about pickleball, we could barely pronounce it, but Raul was here constantly pitching the project. And now to look at where we are today, can you believe it, Raul? I mean, it's amazing to me how far this has come. I thought lacrosse was, one of the fastest growing sports, and that's kind of settled in. But pickleball, it's amazing the growth and how many people are playing it at all ages. And the thing I liked especially was the fact that you're for the community that's not served as well, and that's the people who have temporary issues health-wise, handicaps. And so I think it's so great that you thought about that aspect of it too, to give everybody an opportunity, no matter what their physical capabilities are, to be able to get out and get some exercise. So my compliments to you guys. I'll let Craig make the motion, but I'll second it. I think that we definitely I'm encouraged about what you put together. I had no idea that this presentation just was one of the best I've seen in a long time about anything that we've done, any project. So thank you ever so much. And Greg, thank you. You got great staff there. So they're making you look good.
Yeah, fantastic job. I love that you guys were able to keep the fees the same for the residents, which everybody's going to be really excited about, especially with how awesome this facility is going to be. And just that it's like, I mean, I know you guys are a city, but it's everything for residents. Like everything is for residents. Like you have a couple of big tournaments, but then you're going to do those 4 smaller tournaments, like for like seasonal, which is fantastic. And more open play, which is people tell me all the time they want more open play. So I just think it's great. And then you're splitting up the levels, which is good too. Because there's some arguments out there. A lot. So no, I mean, thank you. And the fact that we were able, I think everybody wanted the city to stay there and run that facility. So the fact that we're doing this together and we're collaborating together on this and we're communicating back and forth with the city on it and we're telling you our opinion on it, and it's just fantastic. So thank you so much. Really appreciate it. We need a motion. Okay.
Or just be mindful that you're in the middle of a current procurement process. You've gone out to bid, received a number of proposals looking to operate this facility. To the extent that the commission wants to move forward with the city's proposal, as you've just heard, the first step would be to reject all of the proposals that we received as part of that procurement. And then subsequent to that rejection, make an award to move forward with the city and direct Brianne to negotiate and finalize whatever that ultimate agreement with the city would look like. No, then it would just be to move forward, maintain the status quo, even better. If they're already operating, then they would just continue with that position in the expanded role.
I have one question before we move forward. Will anything change at the facility now in terms of anything, or this will all be when the 18 opens up?
Right, Ryan, Stephen, just real quickly, if the board goes forward tonight and maintains the city as the operator, that would enable you to go out and start hiring the staff that you need. Okay, so then some of this programming may change.
May start. Okay, awesome. Yes.
Stephen Brown, Racket Sports Administrator. So it's more of a spillover. So, with more courts, you just add more programming to it. But yes, things will change.
I'd like to make a motion to reject all previous proposals submitted for the Patch Free Pickleball Center and continue with the city as our primary and only operator of the Patch Free Park Pickleball and Tennis Racket Center.
Second.
Commissioner Ernst, Commissioner Engel,
Yes.
Commissioner Rollins, Commissioner Vogelsang, Commissioner Wright. Motion passes.
Yay. Okay, so now we are going to open it up to public comment. So whoever wants to go first.
Raul Travieso, 1037 West Royal Palm Road here in Boca. I got caught on the Tri-Rail. My mom's in rehab down in North Miami, and I'm commuting back and forth on the Tri-Rail. My train was a little late, so that's why I'm dressed this way and not prepared. But I just wanted to say that I'm very biased for anybody that's employed with the city because I worked for the city for 39 years. So I really appreciate you guys getting the job. And I know that you do an outstanding job, just like all the employees of the city of Boca Raton do. Always outstanding, as Steve would say. The other thing I want to mention is that this is the nation's 6th annual pickleball month is April, just so you know. And so I wanted you guys to celebrate that. We've got 6 million people playing pickleball on a regular basis. Something like 60 million people have picked up a paddle and played. So the sport is, it's just beyond anybody's wildest dream, the way it's grown. And I just think it's, the commission has been so supportive of pickleball through the years. And I know you looked at me 8 years ago with like I had a third eye, but you know what? You listened to us, you heard us, and you knew that the demand was here, and the people really. It's just wonderful to get people to recreate. I've seen people's lives change. Literally, they tell me they used to sit on a couch and now they're playing pickleball. And what greater thing is that? So I thank you all so much.
You, Raul, for being the champion for pickleball in Boca. Anybody else? Nope. Nothing to say on pickleball. All right, so we'll go ahead and close public comment and do approval of payroll and invoices.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion for approval of payroll and invoices in the amount of $617,465.39.
Commissioner Ernst, Commissioner Engel, Commissioner Rollins, Commissioner Vogelsang, Commissioner Wright.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, reports and discussion items.
Thank you. Commissioners, not a whole lot tonight. I do want to let everybody know that we are moving through the site plan process with North Park. There were some comments made earlier that we're going to be on the same speed, even though the paddle center is starting much later than us. But I just want to remind everybody that our process, obviously we have a lot more going on our 70 acres than in just that small 6 to 8 acre site. But I do want to let you guys know that tomorrow Miller Lake will be at the Community Appearance Board for our preliminary meeting with the city about the North Park. And then at our next meeting, we should have some pricing on the removal of invasives. We have to put together a sample area in Boca Chica to kind of show how the invasives will be removed and the native vegetation planted back. So we should have that at our next meeting to talk about as well, because that'll be part of the site plan process, is having a maintenance plan and an invasive removal plan that won't impact the sound barrier that's currently there. So we're working on all that. I just wanted to give you guys an update. And then, like I said, tomorrow night at the Community Appearance Board, Miller Lake will be there to answer questions about North Park as well. We have our 50th celebration going on, so we'll have our art exhibit opening at Sugar Sand this month. The joint meeting that was tentatively scheduled for 4/24 is actually probably not going to happen. I'm just waiting for final confirmation, but the city, as you guys know, there was an election. We have a new city council member, an old new city council member. He's back on there. So they're just kind of realigning and figuring out dates of meetings, and we should have a date forthcoming soon. So I will keep you all apprised on that. But right now it looks like the 4/24 is not going to happen. That's all I have.
Madam Chair, other than our continued efforts with the Malcolm Butters and his team and their legal team in particular to finalize the concession agreement, we have nothing further to report. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Anybody want to go first?
I want to thank Brianne for working with the city so diligently to get all of these fine points ironed out and doing such a great job.
Thank you, Aaron, for your insight on some of these issues with pickleball. If you want to talk about soccer, I could do that. But I'm a novice at this, and I've learned so much through these meetings and through Mr. Turple in our conversations that we've had about it. So, and I think we'll get there with the Butters organization at some point. I think they're I was encouraged by their willingness to come here and talk about it and listen to what our concerns about it, and very well placed concerns. So this has been another great meeting, and we've accomplished a lot. And Aaron, thank you for your leadership. That's been greatly appreciated.
April Fools. No comments.
I want to echo what Bob just said about what we've been able to do. And I've already told you that I think you're doing a fantastic job as chair. Yeah, you can smile. It's okay. But also, I want to thank Greg and his staff. The atmosphere is so different now. There's so much more cooperation between rec services and district staff. And it seems like we're all on the same page and we're able to get so much more done. And it's truly a pleasure. Because I know it makes our staff's lives a lot easier, and I'm sure it helps you guys out. So, and again, I was really impressed with you guys tonight. You did a fantastic job. And that's all I got.
Okay, so thank you all for your compliments. It's much appreciated. But I do have to say and let you all know that this is actually going to be my last meeting. I'm going to have to resign my post. You spoiled it, man. April Fools. Dang it. I wish I was on a little longer. You got me. Shoot. Dang it. I was going to get you. Oh gosh, gotta do an April Fool's, right? But I have nothing. Just thank you to the city because that was a fantastic presentation, and it's like clear as day. This is going to be an awesome place to go play, and all the residents are absolutely going to love it. And I do think that the Butters group, we will work something out with them. I think they're very they were listening to what we were saying, so I think they'll come back with something that's a bit more in line with what we're thinking. So anyway, yeah, that's it. So go ahead.
Sure.
Bingo. Commissioner Rollins, Commissioner Vogelsang, Commissioner Wright. Motion passes.
We are adjourned.